live. Good evening. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. Just when you think it's going to be a slow day at the office, there's loads of news kicking around tonight. One of the biggest ones is the Green Brigade have been banned. We'll talk about that. Other piece of news and transfer news, Liverpool left back Andy Robertson is open to a pre-contract agreement, allegedly, to join Celtic. There has been a lot of talk about that one before, and it seems like Andy Robertson is open. Go and lie down. No, go lie down. Is open, but to come to Celtic. And then Callum Osmond has took to social media this evening. Also, Jesus, it doesn't have rain. Doesn't have, fucking, when it goes bad at Celtic, it goes bad. Callum Osmond is, can we move that screen over a bit? There we go. Callum Osmond, in the last hour or so, has taken to social media to talk about, obviously, his injury. He says he's devastated. Whirlwind week, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. Heartbroken at the timing of this injury. As I just begin to get going. Grateful for all the people around me and really appreciate the messages from everyone. Like I said earlier in the week, this is just the start for me. I will be back stronger with something to prove. It's devastating for the young lad. To Celtic, at the time of the interview with Martin O'Neill this afternoon, he didn't have the results of the scan. A scan which will determine how long the young lad will be out for. But Martin O'Neill did say that he would not rush the player back, or Celtic would not rush the player back. They'll let him take time to get back to full fitness so that there's no reoccurrence of the injury again, because if it keeps on happening, it could affect his career. But he wants to come back with a point to prove, come back even stronger. And that is only a good thing for Celtic, let's face it. It is. We've got to look at the positives tonight, and that is one positive, that you've got a young player that we've seen glimpses of, and you're thinking, give that young lad a run in the team. Get an older striker with him. Johnny Kenny's in there, bring in some other striker just to egg this young lad on, and we can have a formidable force if we can keep them all injury free. So that's the big news when it comes to Callum Osmond tonight. Obviously the big breaking news is not the Andy Robertson news. It is the situation with the Green Brigade at Celtic. Celtic this evening put out a supporters update. It's always like Celtic, and put it out at 2 minutes to 7 at night. This is a lot more. I mean, we'll go through the statement, but this is about more than just the Green Brigade. This is about the wider fan movement, and Celtic will do anything within their powers to divide and conquer, because they know that division within the fan base, when the fan base is not together, and a lot of people will say fucking get the Green Brigade to fuck, a lot of people will say back the Green Brigade. Whatever side of the fence you're on, this is exactly what Celtic would want to do as a board. There is a big fan movement. There's a lot of people that go to games. There's a big selection of fans that want the board out. Thousands stood outside Celtic Park to boycott, to make sure that the board knew. Now, I said this morning that the board have got a free couple of weeks. The board would have expected some kind of turbulence this coming weekend due to an incident that happened at Celtic Park. They'll expect the turbulence to be a lot less, because the ringleaders, the Green Brigade, are banned from Celtic Park. Let's jump over to the Celtic website and read the statement in full. I'll go over this side and we'll just reduce this a bit. Celtic Football Club wishes to provide the following update to our supporters following a recent incident at Celtic Park. During the match against Falkirk on Wednesday, the 29th a member of the matchday staff, while conducting a routine ticket check at the front of the rail section at Celtic Park, was assaulted by an individual. 2 police officers intervened and attempted to arrest the individual in question. Subsequently, around 100 individuals from the Green Brigade group took part in a coordinated and orchestrated action to rescue that individual. Many of these individuals actively sought to conceal their identity using hoods, scarves and face coverings. The large group verbally abused and assaulted the stewards and the police officers, one male, one female, in a confined space. At one point, there was the action taken by the members of the Green Brigade prevented the arrest of the individual in question. Clearly, such violent and threatening behaviour is completely unacceptable. In July this year, as a result of the warnings of repeated serious safety and security-related breaches of the club's policies and protocols, the club determined that a suspended sanction would be applied to the Green Brigade group. The group were notified of future safety security related breaches of the club's policies and protocols by the group, would result in the group's members being suspended for 3 home matches, and away matches would also be suspended for the relevant period. The club decided to issue a suspended sanction in July to give the group the opportunity to demonstrate the willingness to cooperate with the club to ensure that the rail seating section is safe, well managed and can be enjoyed by all fans. Following the recent incident by the club, can confirm that the sanction will now be applied. Beginning this weekend, the club has written to the Green Brigade group, also the season ticket holders, regarding this incident. That letter will arrive at their letterbox tomorrow morning. For all of the staff and police, for our staff and police to be assaulted in this way is simply unacceptable. This was a serious and violent incident which cannot be accepted, and the club has no choice but to address this behaviour in the strongest terms. Celtic Park cannot be a place for this kind of behaviour, and the club must act in the wider interest of safety of everyone who attends our matches. Celtic Park incident, 29th of October 2025. Having been banned before by Celtic, having had one of those letters myself years ago, it's quite a bit of a delay being now Friday the 7th of November. It is quite a bit of a delay. Normally Celtic are quite on the ball with this type of thing, and the letters go out straight after the match, a couple of days. I mean, really, they've sat on it for, you could say they've sat on it for a week. And any other times, when I think back to when we got banned after Motherwell for the seats collapsing, and Celtic and the police decided that no, we fucking wrecked the seats. In all reality, Celtic scored late on. There was a surge of fans forward. Fans put their feet up on the seats, trying not to go into the back of someone else, and the old rusty seats at Motherwell disintegrated. Completely disintegrated. There was no safety concerns about the seats, beforehand, allegedly. They were fucking in a disgusting state of repair, but I'm sure that was a Wednesday night game as well. Or was that a Sunday? Can't remember. But anyway, the letters went out within 2 or 3 days. Celtic could have put out the letter with regard to this last Friday quite easily. Why sit on it for a complete week and a bit? That's my question, and I think that it is to do with the bigger fan base demonstrations against the board. The board will see that the main people within the demonstrations when it was outside Celtic Park, you could tell that it was the Green Brigade and the boys were there. The Celtic board will do anything. It's a management style that is well documented. Divide and conquer. Put a little bit of doubt into people's minds, And what will make it worse is that I fully expect Martin O'Neill and Celtic to win the game this weekend. That creates even more split, because fans are very fickle and they'll say, well, let's back the manager, back the team until a new guy comes in. Everything's going well domestically. Never mind Europe, we can forget about Europe for this year. That's what the board wants. The group are now going to be banned from Celtic Park for the next 3 games. Very convenient that takes them away into December. It buys them time. Anybody that's looking at this in any other way, that this isn't the perfect little excuse for the PLC to take action, to try and stop. Try and stop the demonstrations. Because if you take away the Green Brigade section, when you take away the Green Brigade section from games and you make sure that they can't get to a game, then Lorne says, if the Green Brigade have evidence to the contrary, let's see it. Lorne, if a member of the police or stewards were assaulted, why has Celtic not put out the CCTV? I have been in section 111 for many years. I know for a fact that back in the day, Celtic Football Club identified me as a fucking nuisance to Celtic on social media because of the videos that I put out on Twitter and on this YouTube channel in the early days of this channel back in 2012 to 2015. I was identified and my name was given to the stewards as one to watch, because they identified me because I was standing with the camera filming what was going on at Celtic Park. There was no other way. There is absolute no other way that these stewards would know my name. The downside for Celtic is I then became friendly with a lot of the stewards in the section, as they knew my first name. It happens. They handle Celtic, they hand over everything that they need to know to the police. Names the lot. Luckily, I wasn't doing anything that was illegal or that could ultimately get me banned from Celtic Park or arrested by the police. It's not illegal to film what's going on around about you, especially when it's under the guise of safety, because it's for my own safety. It's for the safety of the people around me, that everyone else knows exactly what these fuckers are up to. They're not all Celtic fans. Stop giving it time. Yes, the board are using it. Move on. It's not breaking news. Yes, it is breaking news, Gary. Celtic have put out a statement, so it is breaking news. Celtic have put out a statement tonight. Do you know, don't make this shit up. There's a statement on the Celtic website. It's on the Celtic website. Of course it's news. To say that it's not news, you sound awfully like a bored apologist. Going to football used to be an enjoyable thing. A real enjoyable thing. and they've sent the CCT to the Green Brigade. What was that one? This is going to be a great one because this will divide and conquer the fans. This will divide the fans, and this is what they want. If someone's assaulted, I'm totally against that. Where does this put us in the statement league table? I've spoke to, as you would expect for me to do, I'm going to come off this so that you can't see my screen. I have spoke to people that were at the game and in the section, and they did wonder. There was people up the back of the section that have they attached to the video? More to the point, I mean, there was a lot more. I mean, I'm not going to play what about it here, but sorry, I'm just reading a WhatsApp message that's came through about the police have also put out a statement. Let me just get this police statement up also. Police Scotland have now put out a statement, and the statement reads: "We are appealing for information after 2 officers and a steward were assaulted at Celtic Park in Glasgow on Wednesday, 29th of October, during Celtic's fixture against Falkirk. Assistant Chief Constable Mark Sutherland says, "We utterly condemn the unacceptable disorder on Wednesday night, 29th of October 2025. There's not been a murder, but 2 police officers and a steward were assaulted by a large group of fans." Fuck off! I'm not buying that at all. I've been at Celtic Park when there's heavy police down at the doorway of 111. Where there's police standing at the doorway of 110, and they're standing with camera filming. I sat right next to it and I've filmed it over the years. I know what the fuck goes on. And there's a heavy police presence in that area. For 2 of them to say they got assaulted, I do not believe it. Because if 2 of them got into one bit of trouble in that area, there would be hundreds of coppers in there. Within seconds. But anyway. Yes. Having spoke to people that are in the section that night, they said that there was a scuffle and they thought, what the hell was going on down the front? So there's 2 sides to every story, but I do think that this is more to do with the club trying to split the fan base as much as possible. Anyway, let's get on to the Celtic transfer news. The Celtic transfer news this evening is the fact that Andy Robertson has been linked with Celtic. Let's just jump onto this screen. It comes from Transfer Live on Twitter, who do have over 3 million followers, and they're also saying that the source is Team Talk, and Team Talk has around about 107,000 followers on TikTok. Now, is this one that we really want to happen? I mean, it is a bit of Celtic news, but Liverpool left back Andy Robertson is open to a pre-contract agreement to rejoin Celtic. He was at Celtic as a kid, wasn't he? The club view him as a perfect mentor for emerging left-back prospects and a leader to steady the defence that has shipped goals. That's a bit of slap in the puss to Kieran Tierney. Tell me what you think about that in the comment section, because I think that's a big scalp in the cootin to Kieran Tierney. And who is making these decisions, especially if we're going to bring in a brand new manager? If you're going to bring in a brand new manager to the club, surely he will want to bring in his own player. Get in McGinn as well. Are we just going to bring in players that are past it? What about Sarachi? Well, it looks like Celtic aren't even going to try and offer any money for him, are they? It's like bye-bye and away back to South America. And he was great during the week against Madrid. Was he? No idea. I'd rather keep Sarachi. Need to say my reply. It's happened for years. Shut me down there, Buzz. I've never seen your reply, Gary. That's the first comment I've seen for you. I know it's been happening for years. I love the Green Brigade. I'm not going to get into... I'm not condoning assault at all. But if there's video evidence, put the video evidence out. And why take a week? That's all I'm saying, Robert. I'm not condoning assault at all. But I just think that it's very timely of Celtic. Like I say, Celtic are quick off the mark with these type of things. They never wait a week. Do you know, when it came to Friday last week, there would have been people looking at this and talking about it at the game at the time. Now, this must have happened at near enough the beginning of the game, if he was checking tickets. If there was an assault, there would have been an increased police presence in the area on that evening. I don't know if there was, but I'm not condoning assault at all. So to say that I'm condoning assault is a load of bullshit. Because not once have I condoned an assault on anybody. So don't be just typing shite on fucking line. Because I've never once said that. But I do believe that waiting a week is all about divide and conquer. McGinn said, who cares about McGinn? There'll be some scouting team, Nicholson, doing this. The board always buy players. That has been this way for decades. Yeah, it is. I don't think, KT's pitched now, not a fraction of the player who left. But what does it say about Andy Robertson? Isn't he older than Kieran Tierney? And if that's the way that we're going to go down, what does it say for the next manager coming in? Say the next manager coming in doesn't want Andy Robertson. Say he knows a left back from another country that's way better. Do you know? And this, straight off that type of story, straight off the bat, that type of story is putting pressure on the next manager that's coming in, that he does not have the final say. Because if we go out and say the new manager doesn't come in until January, December, as some people are saying, and in December we make contact with Andy Robertson and we'll let him know that there's a pre-contract there for him. That is undermining the new manager straight from the off. Because a new manager might go, I'm not fucking wanting Andy Robertson. What the fuck? I know a 22-year-old player that's way better and younger and cheaper than Andy Robertson. Do you know, we want change at the club, but when things like this come out, it's like, yeah, it's fine. It's the board just doing what the board do. So we either protest against the board or we don't. And this is what it's getting down to. And you know, if it's true that the Andy Robertson thing does happen, like I say, it's a big slap in the face to Kieran Tierney. Scratching their head. Yeah, they are that. It's a complex issue, as they always say. Yeah, exactly. Buy the Michelin players. They are on half the wages of our current players. This is true. KT never got played at Arsenal. That's why he isn't in for himself. When Andy was with us, he got punted because he was too small and weak. And that was a long time ago, wasn't it? And he went on a nice little journey of football. And yeah, it's all good wanting to come back to Celtic and stuff, but I'm not too. If we want to go forward and we want to grow as a club, bringing someone like Andy Robertson in for a payday at the end of his career and to finish off his career at Celtic, that's not looking forward, is it? That's turning the clock back and going, yeah, Andy Robertson, fantastic player at Liverpool. He's won the Champions League. He's not really at the height of his game like what Paul Lambert was. At least when Paul Lambert went away to Germany and won the Champions League in Germany, he came back to Celtic with still a good few good years left in him. He wasn't coming to Celtic at the tail end of his career. But that's the way that Celtic are. No option to buy. Yeah, there is no option to buy with Sarachi, which is Robertson still gets game time. Robertson or Tierney, hands down. Robertson, hands down. I mean, what does it say to Kieran Tierney then, though? Because you brought Kieran Tierney back to fulfil that position. So, absolutely adore KT, but I'm realistic, he's just not cutting it anymore. No point in appointing a manager if the board and the structure doesn't change at this point. Exactly. If Celtic are going to go down the road of pretty much scouting players and giving players pre-contract agreements, Andy Robertson wouldn't come out and say that he's open to a pre-contract agreement to rejoin Celtic. That doesn't get leaked from the players' side if it's not been spoken about by Celtic. Players don't just go out in public and say, yeah, I want to go back to Celtic. Celtic might go, fuck off, mate. You don't fit the bill with what we want. But instead, that statement says that, Celtic see him as a player that can bring on younger players, a leader to steady the defence that has shipped goals. None of the goals last night came from that side of the park. None of the goals really come from that side of the park. But anyway, it is what it is. If it does happen, there is a lot of questions that need to be asked at Celtic, that is for sure, because it undermines, from my perspective, it undermines the manager straight from the off. And any manager that's coming to Celtic, if you're sitting and your agent's going, Celtic are maybe interested, and then you go, right, I'm going to do some digging about Celtic just to see what's been said online. Do your due diligence, and you're seeing that Celtic are lining up pre-contract agreements for players, and you're like, well, whoa, wait a minute here. And they want a manager in. Do I not get to bring my own players? Who's making the shout that Andy Robertson's to come back if they've not got a permanent manager? Who's making this decision? That will put top managers off. That will put top managers off coming to Celtic, because they'll go, do you know? It's just a thought. The amount of mobile phones around would be weird. That one fan who hadn't filmed it, I'm not seeing anything because it was. If Robo joined, what's the odd of KT playing left centre back? That would be even worse. That's not going forward as a club, is it? We're now we're now accepting, if we're wanting change at the club, putting Kieran Tierney at left centre back. He's never been a left centre back in his career, and I thought we were wanting to change the club and go forward. We seem to be at a crossroads of, yeah, we would love Martin O'Neill to stay at the end of the season. Yeah, we want a new manager in. Yeah, we want change at the club. Oh, Andy Robertson's coming back. Oh, that's fine, because we can move KT to this position and we can have Andy Robertson. Well, wait a minute. Come on. Any new manager worth his salt, if I was coming in, I'd be like, Andy Robertson, nah, I'm not wanting him. It doesn't suit my style of play. It's not what I want at the club. I want younger players that can go on a journey, that can have a 3 to 5 year plan. Any manager worth his salt is going to go, right, what's a 3 year plan for Celtic? What's the achievable? What do you see me achieving as a manager? Where do you see the club going? What is your ambition for the club? According to Ange Postecoglou, Dermot Desmond said to him, what do you need? What do you want? After speaking about making the club a force in Scotland again, making the club better in Europe. They're all good chat to managers when they're coming in. They'll sell them the dream. This board will sell them the dream of coming in and build. This is your team. This is your players. This is what we want to do. We want to win the league. We want to win trebles. We want to do better in European football. We'll back you 110% for the first year. And then we'll draw the reins back in and say, whoa, calm down a bit, mate. But when you first come in as well, you've got to accept these players that we've already lined up. It's not my team then, is it? It's not my team at all. Lots of questions to be asked. Feels like a step back. KT's hips are shot. He'll never be the player he was. What age was Lubo when he signed? Come on, you cannot compare. Oh, no way, mate. You cannot compare Andy Robertson to Lubo Moravcik. Come on. Not a chance. Not a chance. Could you say that? Not a chance. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. CCV is done for. Too many injuries blown out. I said this before. If CCV gets one more injury this season, I think that the next coming summer would be the ideal summer to sell Cameron Carter-Vickers. I said that before he was injured, and I still stand by that. I think that Cameron Carter-Vickers, he gets injured every year. He gets injured every year, and there's just something not right about it. It's just laziness. Why go out and get a 22, 23-year-old like Club Brugge, like Michelin? Transfer policy is a shambles. What does Tisdale really do? Well, he seemingly gets on the phone to ex-players and players that are past it and say, well, you want to come back to Celtic? If Robertson's coming, I'd want him in January. That will not happen. That won't happen at all. Because remember, we tried to get Kieran Tierney in January and they wouldn't let him go. And Celtic wouldn't pay the money. There is no way that Celtic's going to pay the money that Liverpool would want for Andy Robertson. 50 grand a week for KT is getting. And please. And will you be happy? Well, here's the question. There's a poll. Here's a poll question. Because a lot of people are unhappy with Adam Ida sitting on the bench, Arne Engels sitting on the bench, with the wages that they were on and the cost. If this deal happens, would you be happy with a 50k a week player sitting on the bench, as in Kieran Tierney? Because that's what would happen. You would have 50 grand a week sitting on the bench. Would you be happy with that? Because a lot of the fans weren't happy with the fact that Arne Engels was sitting on the bench. They weren't happy with the fact that Adam Ida was sitting on the bench, combined £20 million worth. Trusty on the bench, up to 26 million. And Paulo Bernardo also on the bench. That takes it up to, if we had paid the 6 million for him, it takes up to around about 30 million. We only paid 3.5 million for him. So if Andy Robertson was to come into Celtic, would you be happy with, and you've got to remember that Kieran Tierney signed a 5-year deal. It was a 5-year, wasn't it? A 5-year deal. So he's got another 4 seasons after this at 50 grand a week. Are we seriously saying that we're going to go out and give Andy Robertson another 50 grand a week, because he will command that? He will command at least 50 grand. If Kieran Tierney's on 50 grand, he will want 50 grand. 100 grand for 2 players in the same position. That's crazy, chat. That's big Champions League club talk. That's not Celtic Europa struggling 9 points behind Hearts or whatever it is. That's just crazy. And 82% say no, they wouldn't be happy with 50 grand sitting a week. 18% say yes, they would be happy with 50 grand player sitting on the week and the bench every week. I wonder, because there was a lot of, if I'd done a poll about are you happy with 11 million, 20 million of Arne Engels sitting on the bench, there was a lot of people said no. And at the time I said I'm quite happy with it, because it shows you that we've got depth in the squad. Now we don't have the depth in the squad. It's the irony is that we're going to bring in another older player that will command a massive wage from Celtic Football Club. Modric and Ronaldo are only 40. Robertson's 31. He can give us 3 good years. Jesus. We need a strong bench. Doesn't need to be Andy. Could be someone else. Exactly. Another manager. Say we get in Coutson. Say we get in the Irish lad down at Ipswich, and he goes, I know this fantastic left back. He's absolutely on fire. You'll get him for around about 2 or 3 million. He's only on 6 grand a week just now. You'll be able to put him on 15 grand a week easy. And he's phenomenal. The pace on him's unbelievable. Celtic go, nah, no buying that shit. We're going for Andy Robertson. I'm going to pay him 50 grand a week. That's mad talk. Absolutely mad talk. Do you know? Don't you know we want to spend bad? Get the war chest open. Get the war chest open. God, if only, yeah. I'd be happy with 50 grand sitting on the bench than 80 million sitting in the bank. Well, we don't have 80 million sitting in the bank, but you know, you can certainly bite in. You can certainly bite into a big chunk of that 80 million when you're going to have £100 million worth of 100 million, 100 grand's worth of players sitting on the bench every week. It's a big chunk of money, but if you want to throw money away, so be it. Get Strachan, not Robbo. KT is not on 50 grand a week, I know for a fact. Shouting textile. You're assuming Robbo would want 50 grand a week if he just wants to pull in hopes before he retires. I never said he was on 50 grand a week. I'm just reading the messages. Elena should be our next manager. She's done a good job with Celtic ladies with no money. Katie is fucked. Lewandowski's free in January now. Our bench is full of pish. I still want Robo. Oh, Jesus. Get Coutson and let him bring in his own players in. No more from our out of touch board. We need to invest in a good scouting system. Pay them good money to find players. Some people will say that we've got a good scouting system, but KT salary £50 a week till 2030. Everyone's coming out with different things now. The board need to get the checkbook out and buy a 500 titanium hamstrings. Yeah, we were, mate. We were schooled by a team who have less than a third of our budget last night. Do you know, the thing is this is all about deflecting from the fact that we were beaten by a team that cost less than Celtic. We were beaten by a team whose players are on less than Celtic players. We were beaten by a young manager that isn't afraid to try things. We were beaten by a tall, athletic, physical team that have everything that Celtic should be: physicality, height, strength, power. Where have we seen that or heard that before? Unless you work as a financial lawyer's advisor, there's no chance. No, if anything, 20k a week to play as you play, that's not happening. We have a team lacking in athleticism, as Martin O'Neill said. Yeah, he did. And Martin O'Neill said, look, when I had Celtic, it was a team of men. These are a team of young boys in stature and in height, which is unfortunate. Right, anyway, let's see if there's anything else out there tonight that's absolutely crazy. Just a lot of headlines, as you would expect. And it also just happens to be, this is why Celtic held off as well. It happens to be a certain weekend this weekend in the UK. One that isn't really spoke about in the country that I stay, but it is it's a big thing in the UK this weekend. And they would want to make sure that there's nothing goes untoward this weekend and it all goes peacefully. God, here we're going to go. It's going to be like crazy news, anti-Celtic news headlines. As if we need any more anti-Celtic news headlines. Let's just check this. Have they checked? They've attached a video. I'll tell you one thing, the comments online are absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, that is the news tonight. Andy Robertson wants to come back to Celtic. Green Brigade have been banned for 3 games, which start this weekend, which will take in quite an interesting chunk of games at Celtic Park. They've also been banned from away games. First game that they're banned from is Celtic Kilmarnock this weekend, so there'll be no Green Brigade Ultras this weekend. They will then also be banned from the away game at St Mirren on Saturday the 22nd of November. They'll also be banned from Feyenoord away in the European games, and Hibernian also. It's not just a 3-game home game ban that they're getting banned from here. It's a continual. The next home game that they'll be banned for is Celtic Dundee on the 3rd of December. And then the last game that they'll be banned for is Celtic versus Hearts on the 7th of December. Talk about buying yourself time. That's all I'm saying. Talk about buying yourself time. And how will the Celtic collective react to one of the major components of any match day action being banned from Celtic Park? How will they be able to take this forward? That is a conversation for another day. I am done and dusted for the evening. Have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.